My body knows how to do it.
It's a girl.
As we speak, every second, a woman gives birth somewhere in the world. It may sound ordinary, but for the woman living it, birth is nothing like that.
Welcome to Born to be Wild, the podcast. We call in guests from Portugal and beyond to share real birth stories and lived experiences, and to explore what maternity care really feels like on the ground.
In this podcast, we invite you to listen, question, and sometimes unlearn what pregnancy, birth, and postpartum are supposed to look like.
For us, wild means staying connected to yourself, your body, and your choices, even when systems make that difficult.
So let's begin.
And we think that self-care is going to a spa or doing a massage, and it's not that. Self-care is taking care of ourselves. Self-care means taking care of our health. And what I wanted everyone to know, every mom to know, is that you need to take care of yourself because you are responsible for your health. No one is going to take care of you, of your health. You are the only one that can do that.
Sara Arruda is a nurse, a midwife, a health coach, and a mother of 3 boys, all 3 born premature, and all 3 completely different experiences.
Imagine her first birth started with a helicopter evacuation from one island to another. She was 23 years old, just graduated as a nurse, and she woke up after an emergency C-section not wanting to open her eyes because she didn't know if her baby was alive.
Yeah, instant goosebumps. But he was alive. But the road from that moment to where Sarah is today was long. It took 12 years, a lot of personal development work, and a conscious decision to try again.
Yeah. In this episode, Sarah takes us through all 3 births, from traumatic to, okay, I can do this, and then a fully empowered experience. She talks about what changed each time, about laboring at home as a midwife before going to the hospital at the very last moment, and about what it really means to take care of yourself and trust your body when your history tells you to be afraid.
Yeah, Sarah is so passionate about this that she wrote a whole book on it. Because real self care in motherhood isn't a spa day, it's the small things you do, done day after day. The tiny, maybe unglamorous acts that quietly become your survival strategy. The one thing you can actually hold on to when everything else feels out of your hands.
Let's go! Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for accepting our invitation on Born to be Wild podcast.
Thank you so much for both of you to inviting me for the podcast. I'm really, really honored to be here.
Hey, Sarah, we were wondering, because when we invited you, we already heard a few stories about you here and there, only positive, of course. And you have given birth 3 times in 3 completely different ways. And you did so many things already. Where do you even start when you introduce yourself? Can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
So that's been my struggling for the last, I think, 2, 3 years. It's how do I introduce myself? What am I? I'm starting now to trying to understand who I am. So my foundation is nursing. I'm a nurse, and then I study to become a midwife. So maternal health is my core. I work with women since they in preconception to postpartum, and I'm also a health coach and a lifestyle coach. So I still get these women after the postpartum with the health consultations, and I just follow women.
You're a mom of 3, right?
Yes.
How old are your kids today?
That's my full job. I'm a mom of 3. So the oldest one is 17. The middle one it's almost 6. And the Daniel is going to be 4. So 4, 6, and 17.
Okay.
Wow.
That's quite a big difference.
It's the big difference between them. It happens to be because of the birth, my birth stories, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
But the oldest one, it's 12 years difference from Rafael, who is 6. And Rafael, the one who is 6, sees him like an adult. here in the house, so like more like a parents. Both of them, like Danielle, 2 to 4. So sometimes I think I say to my oldest son, sometimes it just comes like two little young kids because he just acts like an adult here in the house. So
Yeah, I can imagine. And the 3 boys, right?
yeah, 3 boys and 3 prematures. So they are
3 prematures as
three.
well.
Thing. I was 23 when I had my first kid. I just left the college school of nursing school, and I met my husband just 6 months ago. So it was not a planned birth, and we were very we didn't know this was going to happen that soon. And so it was something that the birth was already, it was not something that we talked about. We just talked about how many kids do you want to have after I had our baby.
Did you have a normal pregnancy, or were there already any sign that it might be complicated?
No, it was a normal pregnancy. I was young, healthy, so it was all normal. And then at 26, I just started the contraction. I was in Santa Maria Island in Azores for a weekend, and I work in São Miguel, a hospital in São Miguel. That's the nearest island. And then I just felt the contraction, and I thought, no, maybe I'm having some pain, but it's not labor. Of course, it's not labor. It cannot be. And then the contractions started to be more painful. There's not a delivery room in Santa Maria Island. There's not a neonatology. There's not a hospital. There's just a little healthcare center. Mm, And so I was very, very panicking about that because we didn't have the conditions to receive a big premature child here in Santa Maria Island. And then they just call an helicopter to get me to the next island, to San Miguel Island, and to get to the hospital.
But that must be really stressful, when you have to be evacuated to another place and then have your baby there. Did they find out why he was born so prematurely?
No, they never find out. And that's why I felt more scared about that, because nobody could tell me, if I had another son, you can have the same thing. You can have a premature baby. Not any doctor could tell me that. So it was very scary for me to decide to have another baby without knowing if that the baby was going to be premature, if I'm going to pass through that all over again. So they didn't know why did it happen?
And were you aware of any history in your own family, or your husband's family, or not at all?
Not at all. No.
Okay, okay. And how did that postpartum go? Because then your son had to stay for a few months at the hospital. So I guess that you were going there every day with your partner. Tell us a bit about that phase that must have been really
Yes,
difficult.
it was the hardest part. It was not the delivery, it was not the C-section. I remember waking up, being in a hospital room after the C-section, and I was with my eyes closed, and my husband was beside me, and it was like, and I was hearing them talking, my husband and my mom. I was hearing them like, oh, she doesn't want to wake up. It's already past 4 hours since she's here in the room, but she doesn't wake up. And then he tell me, "Do you want to see our baby?" And then I opened my eyes because I didn't want to open my eyes because I didn't want to know if he was alive or not. The doctor, the last thing that I remember before going to the C-section was a neonatologist doctor telling me, "I don't know if your baby will survive. We will see."
My God.
And then I spent 4 hours in a bed of the hospital room with my eyes closed, fully awake. I was not with anesthesia anymore, but only when my husband said, "Do you want to see our baby?" I just opened my eyes and said, "There's a baby?" And he's like, "Yeah, there's a baby. There's a baby waiting for you." And then I went to neonatology, and I never left for the next 3 months that he spent there.
Sarah, I have goosebumps all over my body. This is I think one of the worst things that it can happen to you, and I can imagine you not knowing if your baby would survive. It's a terrible thought, and also being under full anesthesia. I can imagine that's very, very traumatizing.
I was not present in my first birth, in my first delivery. I was not there. I was sleeping.
Yeah,
So I
Yeah.
yeah.
didn't pass to my first delivery. I didn't experiment that. And the postpartum, as you were saying, the postpartum is always difficult. On this first one was really, really difficult because the all the moms that had a baby in neonatology knows that it's we never know what we are going how we are going to find our babies, even if they are there for a month, 2 months, 3 months. We never know. It's always hard to tell how they are going to be on the next day. So I left the neonatology every day, just praying God that, okay, keep him safe till tomorrow, just till tomorrow, and I'll be here tomorrow.
Mm.
And Sarah, you had your own postpartum to go through. For your partner, it must have been such a shock because maybe he also was afraid for your own life. So, how was it, the two of you during this period?
It was very hard because he was working on another island. I was in São Miguel Islands with my baby in neonatology, and he was working in Santa Maria Island. So we were not
Okay.
together. I didn't have the support that I needed when I got home at the end of the day to sleep, and I needed to talk to someone, and he was not there. He, of course, we talked by phone. Of course, he will go to São Miguel Island every time that he could, but it was not the same thing. And it was very hard because
No.
of that. So only when we took our kid home after, I think, 4 months of his birth, only 4 months after the birth, we took Gabriel home, and then we started as a family there, the 4 months.
And how was that to take your baby home after such a long time in the hospital? Was it scary? Was
It
it
was
happiness? How was that?
it was a mix of reliefs, like, okay, if the doctors are saying he can go home, yes, it's because it's okay, he can go home. But then it was very scary. He was really, really little. I bought him clothes from Nenuco, from dolls, the baby dolls, they're very,
Wow.
very
Yeah.
little,
Mhm.
because there are no
Yeah.
clothes for prematures at that time. 17 years ago, there were not many clothes for premature kids. So he was really, really small. And thinking if I could deal with that, if I can take care of him, thinking of, okay, I'm in an island that has no hospital. What if he needs more doctors, or to go to the hospital or something like that, or more treatments? It was scary for that. But then at the same time was a relief, and was happiness, and it was love to bring our baby home and to start new as a new family.
Did you feel prepared afterwards for that transition of a new mom, or was it still very overwhelming after a few months?
No, I didn't feel prepared. Nothing at all. Um, I felt scary, I think, until his first year. At the end of the first year, when he made 1 year, uh, I was more relaxed and more at ease with myself, and confident that I can take care of him. It's okay. Everything is okay. He's okay. He's healthy. But I don't think that no one is prepared to pass to something like this. I don't think. But I was not prepared for sure.
No. And I can totally imagine there's no birth plan for a premature birth that's 26 weeks or a course or whatever. And it's yeah, it must have been so stressful.
Yeah,
Hey, but like after the years that followed, you did a lot of personal development, you already told us.
Mhm.
You went through therapy, even did the midwifery course. So you graduated as a midwife. And then after 12 years, boom,
Yes.
you were pregnant again.
We just decided that it was time. It was our deadline. When I was 35, it was my deadline. And I
Okay.
just sat with my husband and said, okay, this is my deadline. And he just
Hmm.
told me, but I was waiting for you. Are you prepared? You told me you were not prepared. You told me you didn't want to. And I think, okay, let's do this. And then we had our second pregnancy.
And how did that go, the second pregnancy?
It was also a mixed feeling because I was scared, of course, when I got pregnant, even with all my tools, with the breathing, the meditation, the hypnobirthing, all of the things. I was still scared. I was still scared that the same thing could happen. No doctor could tell me, oh, no, everything is going to be fine. It's not going to happen again. No. And so I had to deal with that all during all the pregnancy. All the time that I was pregnant, I had one day at a time. And okay, today was a good day. And when the fear came, I was just dealing with it because it's not easy after the first birth. It's I would lie to you if I told you, "Oh no, I got pregnant, prepared, and yeah, everything was okay, and I was not feeling any fear." Or, no, of course not. I was very scared about it.
Mhm. I can imagine.
And during that pregnancy, where did you find the resources to gain confidence, to help you go through complications, maybe also psychological support that you needed?
I think it was on meditation, breathing, mindfulness, Reiki, all of the things that I developed through these 12 years, and that kept me grounded, and that kept me connected to my child, to my pregnancy. That was my strategy, my tools. And I used them
Hmm.
every day of the pregnancy.
Hmm. Hey, and the day of the birth came, and did it start the same way as your first birth, or how did it go?
No, it started very scary. I was 36 in 5 days, and I just felt saw a lot of blood. I was in the house, and I saw a lot of blood in the floor. And then I ran to the hospital, but I could feel the baby moving, so I knew it was not that bad. And when I got to the hospital, they told me, "Oh, everything is okay. The baby is okay. You're just having some little contractions, and maybe that's why the blood just went through. We never knew." And then I started feeling the contractions. I was already in the hospital. And then I think I was so happy that I was not going to have a big premature child that I
Mm.
just follow what everyone told me to do. I was on a hospital that I worked, so everyone knew me, the doctors, the nurses, everyone knew me. And one of the anesthesist, how do
This
you
is a
say
hard
that?
word as well. Anesthetist, I would say.
Yes, anesthetist. She knew me very well, and she entered the room and said, "Sara, we are going to do an epidural because you are 6 centimeters dilated, and you are going to feel more the contraction." I was like, okay. I was just okay, let's do the epidural. And I was just like that. I was so happy. Okay, I got the to the 36 weeks that I just did what everyone told me to do. At the end, it was a forceps labor with an episiotomy. And it was a mixed feeling of it could have been better. It was the vaginal birth, but it could be better if they just didn't intervene that much, if they didn't do that much. And that's the lesson that I took to my third birth.
You mentioned that there were forceps and episiotomy, that we do know that it's something that is also a medical intervention that is more spread across Portugal, more than other European countries, more than the average. Um, did they justify those medical intervention in some ways? Like, how they explain that it was needed?
They didn't explain me. They just did it. They took the baby out and they told me it was needed because you were bleeding. And so I had to. And
Okay.
it was difficult because it was a doctor that I worked with and that I knew very well and that I trust her. And I
Hmm.
was really trusting her. But then after the birth, after the postpartum, when I was thinking of another pregnancy, I was thinking maybe she should talk to me because I know there are some things that we do to prevent other things. Like if she saw me bleeding too much, maybe she got scared because she knew me also, and she just did what she thought it was the best for me. But I didn't like that, and I didn't like the way that she deal with it, and that's why we changed everything on the third birth.
How did you feel during the postpartum? Because, of course, the experience was different from the first one, but still, you had to go through things that you didn't like and that are also painful for postpartum moms. So, just tell us a bit more about those first weeks with the baby and also where you breastfeeding. How did that go?
I loved the postpartum of my second child. It was really, really
Mhm.
good because I thought I was living the postpartum that I should had with my first one. And so it was
Mhm.
very, very good. I was not sleeping. I was breastfeeding all the time, but it was good. It was like this is what is supposed to do. So I was very happy with my postpartum, with the second postpartum. Even if I couldn't sleep more than 2 hours, it was really good for me because it's normal. It's normal. Yes. I couldn't breastfeed my first kids. I took the milk with the pump, and it lasted
Mhm.
for 1 month while he was in neonatology, and
Mhm.
it lasted for 1 month. With my second kid,
Okay.
I breastfeeded for 2 years till I got the Daniel, my youngest son. So I breastfeeded for 4 years in a row. 2 years for Rafael, and then I got Daniel in 2 years of Daniel. So I breastfeeded for 4 years.
So, you did enjoy your breastfeeding journey.
Yes.
And it seems that this postpartum already helps you to cure maybe the first. At least you could catch up with things that you didn't had the chance to do with your first child. How did that feel for you?
Yeah, it felt really good. It felt like it was normal. It was a normal thing to pass through.
How did that third pregnancy go for you? Was it any different from the second one?
Yes, it was. I felt more confident. I felt more empowered. Like, okay, I did that. I did my vaginal birth like I wanted on the second one. So now I can do whatever I want. And just I just sat with paper, pen, and like, what do I want for this birth? And then I just wrote it, what I wanted, and then I work on it. It's like I just visualize it every day. I was doing a meditation, visualizing my birth, and it was exactly like I imagined. Exactly like I imagined. It was really, really good.
So third one, you have your birth plan.
Yes, everything. Everything as I planned, as I imagined, as I visualized was really, really good.
And what about home birth? Was that at any time an option, or you knew you wanted to go to the hospital?
No, it was an option for me, but it was not an option for my husband. And so
Okay.
we had that discussion during pregnancy, and I was talking to him and saying, okay, I am a midwife. It will be two midwives here in the house, and they will do the delivery. It will be safe. We are 10 minutes away from a hospital. It will be safe. It's from people that I know, that I trust. And because the home birth does not have a rule in Portugal, for him,
Mhm.
it means it's not safe. I know it's safe. I know how it happens, but he's like by the book and he's saying, okay, but it's not something in Portugal. It doesn't exist. It doesn't have a law. And he's right. It doesn't have a law. It doesn't have
Mhm.
something that we can trust that.
Just to add a little nuance here, because I think this is really important. Home birth in Portugal is definitely not illegal. There is no law that prohibits it. What is true that is there is no specific law that regulates it either, which means it exists in a kind of legal gray area. Independent midwives can legally attend home births, and more are doing so. So while Sarah's husband's concern is completely understandable, especially given their history, home birth in Portugal is a legal choice. It just requires finding the right professional and doing your research.
So he didn't trust. And besides that, like we had two kids, two prematures births, and he was very
Exactly.
stressful about that. Like, what if? it's not premature, but if it happens something with the baby
Mm,
after the birth. And so we had to decide as a couple. And so
of course.
I just compromised that. I did the part of the home birth, and then I went to the hospital just for the baby to to come
To be
out.
To be
delivered
born.
and catch by the midwives.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, it
right.
was.
Well, I can imagine it's also been traumatic for him, right?
Yeah, yes, it is. And he's not in he's from the world of numbers and computers, and it has to be
Yeah,
always written in laws and something. And it's not the same thing. We work on the field. We know how things work. We know that things are not on national rules because they still aren't, but they are going to be. And home birth happen here in Portugal in a safe way. But it's difficult to explain that to someone who is not inside this area.
exactly. Exactly. Hey, and then the day of the birth came, and you already told us a little bit about that. How did that start? Because I can imagine it also made you feel a little bit nervous about that because the first one happened very prematurely, second one with some blood, also prematurely.
The third one, it was like night before bed and I felt some pain and I thought maybe this could be some contractions. I'm going to sleep on it. And then I slept and I woke up at 3 in the morning with a lot of pain and he was born at 6 in the morning.
That was fast.
Yeah, from 3 to 5:30 I was at home. I got to the hospital at 5:30, 5:45 and he was born at 6 like I wanted.
Yes, third baby, they are known to be fast. And
Yes.
Yeah.
how many weeks were you?
36 plus 6. So if I had a fourth
Okay.
baby, maybe it will be 37. But I will not go on that experience.
Would you take the bet? No. Okay, so third boy, and he was born healthy. Everything was okay.
Everything was okay, very healthy.
How would you summarize that postpartum phase?
It was the hardest one for me. It was really difficult because not only I had a toddler at home, but my second child has autism. And so he has special needs. I had to give him more attention. And so it was hard for me. I was in a place that I was still trying to deal with autism. At the same time, I
Mhm.
was dealing with a postpartum. At the same time, I had a newly born baby who wants to be breastfeeding all the time. And I had to split the attention for the other boy. It was hard for that. And it was like, I think that what I learned from that is that when you decide to have more kids, you know that your love is going to duplicate, triplicate, it's going to be enough for your kids, but you will not get to split to your kids. You will have to split your attention, but you cannot give the same attention to your kids. When you have one, two, three, it's different. So you have to deal with that,
Yeah,
and it's hard.
yeah. Hey, so Sarah, we talked multiple times about your postpartum experience, and those experiences must have stayed with you because they were so different.
Yes.
But already told us, like, you also work with women who are postpartum. Tell us a little bit about your work.
So I started when I graduated as a midwife. I started to taking care of the pregnant woman, to do the birth preparation, and then we developed a relationship with this woman. And then I started to give health consultations after birth, like postpartum consultations for the baby. And then there's a big gap after the postpartum. It's a space where there's no space for the woman. The woman doesn't recognize herself. The woman feels lost. It feels like she doesn't know herself. It feels like I don't know who I am. I don't know what do I need to do. And as I develop a relationship with this woman since pregnancy, they started to talking with me and I started to do health consultations or coaching consultations on health. I started to help these women to get back to that place where they can take care of themselves. And so that's mainly what I do right now. I just follow women through postpartum I would call it postpartum of postpartum. So because
Yeah,
on books on maternal health care, it says that postpartum ends at 6 weeks after birth. It ends.
but we all know it doesn't.
We all know that it's not true. And
No.
especially for women who has more than one kid, it is surely it doesn't end 6 weeks after birth. So that I think there's the gap that exists and that no one talks about is that okay, so the baby is now 3 months old and he's healthy and everything is okay, and the woman starts to trying to get back to her, to her life, to her
Yeah,
professional,
yeah,
to her. And it's difficult
yeah.
because that woman doesn't exist anymore. In Portugal,
No.
we say that when a baby is born, a mother is born. But I think that when a baby is born, a new woman is born. It's not only a mother that it's
Mm,
born. We change, right? We change as a woman, and we had to recognize that. We have to be more self compassion about that.
Yeah. Hey, and there's so much focus on like pregnancy and birth, but we also feel like postpartum often feels like some kind of cliff edge.
Yeah.
Why do you think we are so bad at preparing women for what comes after?
I don't know, but I really wanted to change that because on my birth preparation, there's a module just for preparing postpartum. We need to do that. We need to tell people it's not that I'm going to traumatize her. I'm going she's going to be afraid of postpartum. No, she needs to know that it's going to happen. And she needs
Mm-hmm.
to create her support network. She needs to have that people where that she can call and ask for something, or just the people who will be around and she don't need to ask nothing to anyone because they're already
Mm-hmm.
there. And it's very,
Mm-hmm.
very useful to prepare postpartum in pregnancy, during pregnancy.
And Sarah, from your experience, what are the things that the moms are struggling the most with during postpartum?
Exhaustion. The women are exhausted, moms are exhausted because we are doing it all. We are doing the same things that we did before we had kids, and now we take care of our kids. So it's a lot. We have a lot of responsibilities, we have a lot to do. And I think that society needs to change the way that treats moms. Moms are like, they are the core of our society. Without moms, we don't have a society. We need moms to create a society. And we are not treating this woman as we should. We are not giving them the value that they deserve, the respect that they deserve. We shouldn't ask for a support network. We should get that immediately as we get a
It should be
baby.
part of the system.
Yes, it should be part of the system. Because what is a society without moms? It's nothing, right? So I think that's what we need to change. It's the way we see moms in our society.
We talked about your births, and is self care or like the postpartum phase and taking care of yourself in that, is that after like a more traumatized, difficult birth very different from any other kind of self care? What does it look like in practice?
It looks like a very simple way a very simple and easy way to taking care of yourself. The thing is,
Mm-hmm.
self-care today, it's we are not getting it right. We are seeing through statistical medicine, and we think that self-care is going to a spa or doing a massage, and it's not that. Self-care is taking care of ourselves. Self-care means taking care of our health. And what I wanted everyone to know, every mom to know, is that you need to take care of yourself because you are responsible for your health. No one is going to take care of you, of your health. You are the only one that can do that. And so when we say, okay, you need to take care of yourself, I'm not saying that you need to take 2 hours of your day to do something that you like. I'm telling that what is the most important thing for you right now on this day? Maybe is to drink 2 liters of water. Maybe is to not eat sugar for one day. Maybe it's to do a walking, a breathing exercise, to take a bath, a long bath, something like that. Okay, what do you need today? to do for yourself, just for yourself, not for anybody else. That's the main core of self care that we need to see this differently.
Yeah, it's like taking care of yourself. And if I can make a bridge, that's also the name of your book. You wrote a book. It's called Cuida-te.
Yes, yes.
Wow, now my Portuguese comes in.
It's good.
Yeah. Um, and what made you decide to write a book about it?
Well, all of this story that I work with women after the postpartum, and all of them had this problem of taking care of themselves, and they used to think that taking care of themselves, it was hard, it was needed for a lot of money and a lot of time, that they don't have that agenda to do that, but it's more easy than that. So I realized that women don't know how to take care of themselves. Also, my journey with self care, and I explained that in the book, started when I was 22 years old. I was diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I didn't know how to take care of myself. So I had to study. I was already a nurse, but I have to study of how can I take care of myself, because this is a chronic disease that depends a lot, like most of the chronic diseases. It depends a lot of what you do with your health today. And I had to learn that. That's when my self-care journey started. It was at that time. And then when I graduated as a midwife, when I started to work with this woman, I remembered that, okay, I started to study this a long time ago, like 20 years ago. And there are a lot of people that need to hear that. And so I started to write everything that I know about it. And at the end, I got a book and I look at it and I say, okay, what do I do with this? And then it just I publish it, and it's my contribution to women and to moms.
I feel like many women listening to this will recognize themselves in that idea that healing often starts with very small things. And I think it's also reassuring to know that, because I guess when society is not here to take care of you, it can also put a lot of pressure on yourself. Like, I need to take that care and take that time, and with everything else, the work, the kids, the house, the family, and just giving those tools to do it step by step, with breathing time, with walk, with small things. I think it's also very powerful first, and also it creates a new space in our heads. Just also maybe to be creative, or to really take that time to reflect on things that today is maybe the most precious, because we are running out of time as moms.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Aviva. And I was also wondering, Sarah, what is the one thing you hope every woman takes away from reading your book?
I think it's that responsibility for our health, that it's not a luxury to take care of yourself. Actually, the luxury is your health. And so the main thing is you can do this. You can take care of yourself. You can take care of your kids and you can take care of your house. You cannot do everything at the same time. You cannot do everything be perfect every day. It will not. But it's just one step at a time. Today you drink 2 glasses of water. Tomorrow you'll go for a walk. On the other day, you cannot do anything for yourself. You just sit and breathe. But as you go through this process of taking care of yourself, it starts to become more natural. And after a few months, it's normal for you to take care of yourself, to take time to be with you and to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Were there small things that your partner did, or maybe your friends, that also made a huge difference for you?
Yeah. When I was on postpartum, I had a husband, friends, and family that helped me, and that I didn't have to ask for it. They were there. They knew, and that make a huge difference. And without that, I think it will be a lot harder than it was.
Not only takes a village to raise a child, it also takes a village to support a mom.
Yes, it is.
And Sarah, you also mentioned having a kid with autism. I guess it adds some challenges as well for your postpartum and taking care of the entire family?
We in Portuguese say mães atípicas, like moms of autism kids. It's not about that. But of course, if you have an autistic kid, you have to have that extra self care, that extra care for your health, because you are thinking
Mhm.
that you need to live the healthier and longer life that you can, because your kid depends on you. So it's not like my 17 years old boy, he's able to go to the world and he's independent. And my youngest one, he's also independent and he's 4. Uh, but Rafael, no way. He needs me. And he will be still needing me in 10 years, in 20 years. I hope less, of course. But that's one of the reasons that I take care of my health, because I want to be healthy and have a longer life for him also.
Of course. And that's so beautiful to hear.
We are coming towards the end of the podcast, but there's one question I really wanted to ask you the whole podcast, and is if you could say one thing to a woman being postpartum now with a newborn or maybe a baby that's a few weeks old, a few months old, maybe, what would you say to her?
This will pass and it will pass very, very fast. So try to enjoy it. It's hard, it's difficult, but try to enjoy some things of this phase in your life. And it's normal that you don't feel the same person, that you feel exhausted, you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're taking care of another person. So it's normal. I got you and you got this.
That's beautiful to end this wholesome conversation with, and I think the way you described your birth and how extraordinary they were, and all three so different. It's really gonna stay with us for a long time. And I had goosebumps a few times when I was recording this
Yes, we did.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing your story,
Thank
also
you.
in a very vulnerable way. Thank you so much, Sarah.
I completely agree with Irene. And even with the trauma, I think it's a beautiful also example of how you took care of yourself, of your mental health, how you dealt with this whole experience that you didn't expect and leave a big mark, but still decided a few years ago to start again and to make it better and better each time. Yeah, it's a beautiful motherhood journey. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you so
is.
much for having me here. It was wonderful to have a chat with you.
Thanks for listening to Born to Be Wild, the podcast. If you want to continue the conversation, you can find us on Instagram at borntobewild.pt and birth mode. We would love to hear from you.
All sources and references mentioned in this episode are in the show notes below. And if you enjoy this episode, of course, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. It's really the best way to help us grow. See you next time!